All right, so after watching the Kamala Harris-Mike Pence debate on Tuesday, my overall feeling of the show was that no one's answering any questions. I was interested to hear what they had to say on a number of topics, and rather than answering the questions, they kind of danced around them, beat around the bush, deflected. There were a lot of lies on Pence's side that I noticed. There were a couple flip-flops on Kamala Harris's side that I wasn't sure, like, is that what she really means? Because she's voted differently in the past, particularly when it came to marijuana. She blurted out that she was looking at decriminalizing marijuana and expunging the records of people who have marijuana violations. And that was interesting to me because I would like to see more than just decriminalization. I would like to see full legalization. I don't think jobs should test you for pot. That's not a drug, in my opinion. So when I look at her history as the DA of San Francisco, she charged thousands of people with marijuana violations, I guess. So people were locked up because of her when it came to marijuana. And if she wants to go back and expunge their records now, that's really cool. I think that should happen nationwide. I just hadn't heard that from her before. I thought she was anti-marijuana. So I thought that was interesting. But from the very first question of the debate was to Kamala Harris, and the moderator asked her, what would you do differently? What would a Biden-Harris administration do differently regarding the coronavirus come January or February? You know, you guys have the power. Now we're going to change things. We're going to beat this coronavirus. What are you going to do about it? And I was interested to hear that. Like, are they going to do a federal mask mandate? Are they going to do more contact tracing, some kind of testing plan? And she didn't answer the question. All she did was talk about how terrible Trump and Pence have handled it, which we know. And I want to know, and I mean, that moderator asked the question, a lot of people want to know, what are you guys going to do differently? And we know Trump and Pence didn't do it, you know, they didn't handle it that well. So I didn't get an answer to that question. I thought that was kind of irritating. And then the next question that I noticed she dodged was Pence asked her directly whether the Democrats were planning to pack the courts and add some Supreme Court justices to kind of offset the conservative majority that Trump has put in place. And that's a simple yes or no question. I mean, you can say yes or no and then go ahead and expand on your answer, but she didn't say yes or no. She never answered that question. So I was kind of interested to see, is that something they're planning? I don't know. I didn't learn anything when it came to that topic. Another question that she dodged was when the moderator asked if she had discussed with Joe Biden. He is going to be the oldest president in American history if he's elected. It's not a secret. Trump is really old too. She was asked if she had discussed with him, you know, are there any safeguards in place for if he starts to lose it? And she didn't answer that question. So as much as I am on the Democratic side with a lot of issues, it's really irritating when I'm watching a debate to try to get answers to questions on policies, and she's not answering any questions. She's just kind of using up the time to say what she wants to say without answering any of the questions. With that being said, Pence didn't answer a lot of questions either. I took notes on a few. One of the questions was regarding that Rose Garden super spreader event when Trump was, he brought out Amy Coney Barrett to that big unmasked event and everybody got the coronavirus, including Trump. The question to Pence was, why don't you and Trump follow the advice of your own administration when it comes to social distancing, wearing a mask and all that? How can you expect the country to follow safety guidelines if you guys don't even follow it? And he did not have an answer for that question. Another question to Mike Pence was, do you believe in climate change? And he said his answer was that scientists have yet to come to a consensus on whether or not humans are contributing to global warming. That's a lie. They have reached an overwhelming consensus that yes, it is humans that are doing that. And then he shifted to talking about how Kamala and Joe Biden want to raise taxes. So do you believe in climate change? The scientists don't even know, and they're going to raise your taxes. So great answer. Thank you. Non-answer. Another question he got that he didn't answer, and he is the leader of the coronavirus task force, so he should have a lot of answers when it comes to the coronavirus. The question was, why does the United States have a higher rate of death as a percent of our population than other developed countries? I think we're like less than 5% of the world's population, but we're accounting for like over 20% of the deaths. So he didn't have an answer for that. The leader of the coronavirus task force can't tell us why we have a higher death rate. Okay, that's reassuring. The next question to Mike Pence, or the next question on my list, I don't know what order they were in on the debate, but the question is, what will you do if Trump refuses to accept the election results and a peaceful transfer of power? No answer. We didn't get an answer on that. He also could have taken that opportunity to reassure everyone that there will be a peaceful transfer of power if they lose, but he did not use that time to make us feel any better. So all I keep seeing is that people are planning a whole lot of violence, no matter who wins. So that's the state that we're in. The last question that I wrote down that they didn't answer was, it was directed towards Mike Pence, and he was asked if the Supreme Court is successful in overturning Roe v. Wade, which seems to be one of their plans, will he want to ban all abortions in his home state of Indiana? And he also didn't have an answer for that. So there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of talking, a lot of words on the screen floating around, and really no answers to any questions. So it kind of felt to me like a waste of time. My boyfriend watched it with me, and the most common thing we said through the entire debate, if we took a shot every time we said it, we would have been hammered, was, what is he even talking about? What is she even talking about? What are they talking about? That's not the answer to the question. If you're not going to answer the question, don't go to the debate. It didn't change how I'm voting. I've looked at analyses online and on TV. Democrats say Kamala Harris owned the debate, and Republicans say Mike Pence owned Kamala Harris. So each side thinks the other side did horrible. Surprise, surprise. If you don't know who you're going to vote for by now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't need any more debates, and let's just get on with it, shall we?